What is up, y'all? Within today's video, we got more RuPaul's Drag Race drama. This one is getting really ugly, really fast. Ironically enough, yesterday I was scrolling through TikTok and I had saw a clip from Monet Exchange and Trinity the Tuck, podcast. I don't know if they have a podcast or if they're a guest on each other's podcast. I'm really not too sure because I haven't seen it before. Well, basically Trinity the Tuck, I'll play a clip within today's video, was saying oh, I don't like this queen or I don't like that queen, just kind of give reasoning as to why she doesn't like some certain drag queens out there. I didn't think anything of it. She had mentioned Farrah Moan in there and she had said her reasoning why, and I was just kind of oh, okay, it is what it is. Not everybody's going to click. I didn't really think it was that deep. Well, I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw that Farrah Moan had made a big old lengthy comment about, multiple comments I should say, about Trinity the Tuck, and I'm like, damn, this got really messy really fast and kind of exposed her reasoning for why she doesn't like Trinity the Tuck, and I'm just like, whoa, this is super messy. So I'm going to be playing a clip from the podcast within today's video, as well as I am going to be reading the tweets. It is a little bit lengthy, just letting you guys know, but it's low key, it's a little bit messy. I do have to say this though, before we jump into today's video, I kind of just see both sides of things. I really do. Only because if you guys have seen Trinity the Tuck before, I feel like she is known to be a little bit shady. She's really good at reading. She's good at cracking a joke, and she is a little bit messy. And I kind of like that. You guys know, obviously, especially when it comes down to having a reality show, you got to be a little bit messy. And then on top of that too, if you're going to be having a podcast, clearly you got to speak your true thoughts. Do you know what I mean? And feelings. And then I also have to say, I really do like Farrah Moan. She used to follow me before on Instagram. This is a hot minute ago. And we had, some interactions before in the comments. And she has always been super, super sweet to me. So I'm just kind of damn, I'm going to be very mutual with this one if I'm keeping it real with you guys. I'm just reporting the news, basically. You guys know normally I throw my opinions out there. But I'm just kind of I see both sides of it. Just letting you guys know before we jump into it. If you guys like RuPaul's Drag Race commentary on this channel, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up. I would appreciate that, and let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start this off by playing the clip from Trinity the Tuck's and Monet Exchange podcast, which, by the way, I'm still a little bit unsure if it's their podcast together or if one of them was a guest on each other's podcast. Because I don't know if I'm tripping, but I could have sworn that Monet Exchange was doing a podcast before with Bob the Drag Queen. Maybe he's just having fillers in right now because I think Bob the Drag Queen is on tour with Madonna, so maybe that's what it is. If you guys happen to know, let me know down in the comment sections. But anyways, go ahead and check out this clip right here.
Oh, you just want one? Well,
oh no, I'll take more if you give me more, for sure.
Okay, quickly. I used to love Farrah Moan until she started all this drama during COVID for no reason.
Drama? What did she do with drama?
Girl, she tried to get all of her fans to attack me because I did a show during COVID.
Oh, the brunch show.
The brunch show outside with a mask.
Yeah.
50 people limited. It was within the law.
Yeah.
And she tried to have people come after me for literally no reason. Literally there was no reason. I didn't do anything illegal or wrong.
I remember that.
And then girl, she was out there hanging out with people without masks and stuff and trying.
The other day I was driving around and I saw her.
Yeah, she's out there hanging out with people. And what makes me mad is literally a couple of weeks before that, she was struggling a lot with mental stuff, and that's no joke.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, girl, if you need to get away, you can come to Florida. I have a guest room. We don't even have to interact. If you just want to be away from where you're at, you can come stay with me. I'd be happy to host you. I don't have people over, so you're safe. And we were talking about her doing that, and it's not like we were really good friends, but I did extend my hand to try to help her in that time. And so for her to come out was just out of left field. I was like, girl, you if you really had a problem, you should have came to me as my friend.
Because y'all were friendly before that. Y'all were cool before that.
Yeah, we were really. I mean, at least I thought so.
Right.
And so now I hate that highlighter bitch.
As y'all can see from right there, Trinity was just kind of giving her reasoning as to why she didn't like Farrah Moan. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I was okay, it doesn't really seem that deep of a thing. Obviously, I feel during the pandemic, things were really, really hard for a lot of people. One, financially, I understand during this time, I actually remember Trinity the Tuck saying she should be able to work and whatnot. And obviously, if they have these certain mandates to where you can do things outside and you're 6 feet apart and everyone's wearing a mask, if they're following all the mandates, then I don't see the problem with it. Do you know what I mean? During the pandemic, I want to say I went to, what was it, Disneyland or Knott's Berry Farm? I went to a theme park and I just followed. We had to stand 6 feet apart. We had to have our mask on all the time. I'm these are the mandates. Do you know what I mean? And I still saw people online talking trash about people that went to theme parks and stuff. And I'm the parks are open. They have these mandates. I'm not quite understanding. But obviously, I feel like a lot of times during, well, not a lot of times, sorry, but a lot of people during these times were very sensitive. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, because there was a lot of people who lost their lives from the pandemic. So I totally do get it. But at the same time, too, it took a big chunk out of a lot of people's livelihoods. Do you know? So, anyways, I want to go ahead and read this. Y'all, it's a lot of tweets from Farrah Moan, but just that way you guys know where she's coming from. Because obviously, if you see one side of it, you'll be like, oh, well, maybe Farrah Moan was overreacting just a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Vice versa, whatever the case is. But what Farrah Moan says right here on Twitter, I'm just like, oh, damn. This is what she says right here. Hi, Twitter. Since a certain trailer trash demon... I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try my hardest to not laugh. Since a certain trailer trash demon can't stop bringing me up in whatever platforms people are still giving her for some reason, when I've done nothing but stay in my own lane, I would like to tell you a little story. Once upon a summer, I had a beautiful romance with a trans man in San Francisco. On one of my trips to visit him, my season 9 sister, Trinity the Botched, oh my gosh. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just feel like queens just know how to read. You know what I mean? Because that's hilarious. Especially if you guys did not know, Trinity the Tuck was on Botch the Show on E! Yeah, I'm sorry, that's so messy. Happened to be in town performing at one of the clubs. We were still friends at this time, so I hit her up to meet us for dinner. Now, clearly, Trinity could not tell that my date was trans, because not even 5 minutes into us sitting down, Trinity decides to go on a rant saying, can y'all believe there's men with vaginas? Which, by the way, I have to say this. I want to know the full story of this now, because I think that it seems so crazy to sit down at dinner and within 5 minutes make a comment like that. Now, Farrah obviously is sitting here saying, you know, oh, within 5 minutes she sat down and said this. I'm kind of like, I'm not saying I don't believe her. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just kind of like, damn, was Trinity on one that day? Like, who sits down at dinner before the freaking drinks even come, before the appetizer even comes, and makes a comment like that? That just seems so outlandish to me and so crazy. I'm like, damn, was she on one that night? Because that is just crazy to me to sit down and be like, did you know there's men with vaginas? That's kind of crazy. Anyways, that is absolutely so disgusting to me. How could anyone be into a man with a pussy? That's the continued quote from Trinity the Tuck, supposedly from Farrah Moan's point of view. Me and my date instantly froze and looked at each other. I was absolutely mortified, and I could tell his heart literally shattered. I felt this overwhelming guilt that I just brought him into this most uncomfortable situation. I interrupted her and said, Trinity, you need to stop. My date here is trans. My date was trying really hard to keep his cool, but he was having a visceral reaction. She immediately backpedaled, started saying things like, oh wait, but I'd never be able to tell. You look just like a real man, which started making it worse. Which I feel like within that certain situation, honestly, I feel like that would make it so worse. Because, y'all, I have been told before, when I don't wear makeup, okay, clearly I have like a whole lot of makeup on right now. But before, say for example, when I go out with like my jean jacket and I'm wearing a baseball hat, very, very little to no makeup on, and people would make a comment about, you know, being gay or whatnot, and I'd be like, oh, well, I'm gay. And they'd be like, oh my God, I could never even tell. And I'm like, as if there's like a certain look. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that immediate reaction, if true, is really messed up. It's just kind of like at that point just going to be like, oh my bad, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't sit here and try to like backpedal up out of it, because you end up like digging yourself a hole deeper. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, to this day, I have never had a more uncomfortable interaction with a person. The rest of the dinner was so awkward, and she kept on profusely apologizing. I mistakenly gave her the benefit of the doubt, schooled her on some things, and tried to maintain a friendship with her, as she's a fellow 9 girl, and probably just hadn't been exposed to the masculine side of transness, and why those things she said were mortifying. However, in 2019 and 2020, when I was facing my trans identity privately, every time she said something transphobic on Twitter or online, it chipped and chipped away at my patience with her, and she was in ways in which she was using her prestigious platform. My breaking point was in 2020 when she freshly won on All-Star season. On the All-Star season, we're in a deadly pandemic, and she tweets about how essential her job is, and she shouldn't get in trouble for congregating huge crowds before we even had a vaccine. I've been blocked ever since. She's made no effort to make amends or to reach out, but she clearly still can't stand that I had the nerve to speak up to her almost 4 years ago. Because of the extensive time I've spent with her in hundreds of shows, the behavior I've observed for years, etc., is why I will never be convinced she Shed evil by night, y'all. A she devil by night. I am so stupid when words are put together like that. I just have a hard time reading them. Y'all know I'm a high school dropout. I don't want to hear it. Okay, that profile typed like her and everything. She is quite literally an awful person, an awful role model. But hey, she's great at drag. Y'all, so that's what Farrah Moan had to say from right there. I am so sorry. I feel like this whole entire situation is really, really messy. Obviously, they just have two different viewpoints on things. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Trinity the Tug during this time, I don't remember the exact tweet of what she said, but basically, obviously, during this time, she was talking about doing shows when the pandemic, as soon as I started like letting down mandates, and I think that this was in another state than California. Here in California, like y'all, it took us a hot minute to be able to do anything, but other states were opening up faster than we were, and I feel like a lot of people from California, we're low-key being judgmental of other people and their states, but at the end of the day, if their states open up, sooner, then that's just kind of like their prerogative on things. So I think that Trinity the Tuck obviously had this mindset of like, I have bills to pay, I gotta get out there and make my money, as to where Farrah Moan was like, no, like this is a very deadly disease and obviously we need to take precaution, which I totally do see both sides of it. That's why I'm saying, like, I feel like low-key, I really am playing both sides of the fence here, because I get it. Like, I get where Farrah Moan is coming from in the aspect of like, we need to be cautious. Like, obviously, how can you be having a big gathering of all these people in this type of setting when we're going through a pandemic? But then obviously Trinity the Tuck is like, girl, I'm losing out on thousands of dollars here. I have a mortgage to pay. I have bills to pay. I have a car note to pay. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many people y'all, I want to say so many people during this time actually cut ties with a lot of people in their family and friends, because there was just so many disagreements, being that there were people out there like, I got to get back to work, and people were like, no, like, we got to stay in. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I really do understand both sides of it, but obviously this affected a lot of people in many different ways, and I think this is what obviously led to their situation here. And I feel like just when Trinity Tuck had said within her video, or on her podcast, I'm sorry, about, hey, she followed the mandates, I feel like at the end of the day, that's all you could really do. But in my personal opinion, I just feel like they see life completely different, and those types of people just don't really mesh, and that's really just it, in my personal opinion. Anyways, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.